Arsenal transfer bombshell. 3 major moves that could define our season. Hello, Gooners, and welcome back to Arsenal Daily News. Today, we got some absolutely massive transfer news that you need to hear about right now. We are talking about potential signings that could transform Arsenal's title challenge. And trust me, you're going to want to stay until the end of this video, because what I am about to share with you could change everything. Before we dive in, let me set the scene for you. Arsenal are sitting pretty at the top of the Premier League table, 6 points clear of Manchester City. We are in the driving seat for our first league title in over 20 years. But as we all know, January is a critical month. This is where title races are won or lost. This is where squads are strengthened or left wanting. And right now, Arsenal are being linked with some truly spectacular names. Now, when we talk about transfer news in January, there is one name that stands above all others when it comes to reliability and inside information. That name is Fabrizio Romano. And when Romano starts reporting on Arsenal targets, you know things are getting serious. Some of the information I am going to share with you today has been corroborated by Romano himself, which tells you just how concrete these links actually are. We have got attacking reinforcements being discussed. We have got midfield targets who could provide crucial depth. We have got defensive prospects who represent investments in our future. Some of these names will excite you beyond belief. Others might surprise you. But all of them have one thing in common. They could be wearing an Arsenal shirt before the end of this transfer window. I am going to break down each potential signing for you. I am going to tell you exactly what the latest reports are saying. I am going to give you the transfer fees being mentioned. I am going to explain what these players would bring to Mikel Arteta's squad. And crucially, I am going to give you my honest assessment of how likely each transfer is to actually happen. We are not here to waste your time with baseless rumors. Everything I discuss today is based on credible reports from respected journalists and sources close to the club. Where something is confirmed, I will tell you is confirmed. Where something is speculation, I will make that clear. My job is to give you the facts so you can make your own judgments about what is really going on behind the scenes at the Emirates. So buckle up, Gooners. This is going to be a big one. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because you do not want to miss any updates as this transfer window unfolds. Let's get straight into it and talk about the players who could be joining Arsenal before the month is over. Arsenal transfer target analysis, January 2026. Hello, Gooners, and welcome back to Arsenal Daily News. Today we are diving deep into the latest transfer rumors surrounding our beloved Arsenal Football Club. We have got 7 different players being linked with moves to the Emirates Stadium, and I am going to break down each one for you, giving you all the details you need to know about these potential signings. Before we get started, let me be crystal clear about something. Everything we are discussing today comes from recent reports and rumors. Some of these are more concrete than others, but I will make sure to tell you exactly what is confirmed and what is simply speculation. My job is to give you the facts as they stand right now, so you can make your own judgments about whether these transfers are likely to happen. So let's jump straight into it. Start with the biggest name on the list, and arguably the most exciting potential signing. RODRYGO from Real Madrid, the dream signing. First up, we have RODRYGO, the Brazilian winger currently playing for Real Madrid. Now, this is a transfer rumor that has got every Arsenal fan talking, and I can understand why. According to unconfirmed reports coming out of Spain, Arsenal have actually submitted an opening bid worth £52 million for the Real Madrid star. Let me give you some context here. RODRYGO has been at Real Madrid for several years now, and he has been a quality player for them. However, according to these reports, his playing time at the Bernabeu has decreased under manager Xabi Alonso. Now, that is interesting because it suggests there might be an opportunity here for Arsenal to swoop in. The reports go even further, claiming that RODRYGO himself is accelerating his exit from Madrid. Apparently, he is holding talks with 2 potential new agents to help him complete a January move. That shows intent, does it not? When a player is actively looking to change representation to facilitate a transfer, that is usually a sign that they are serious about leaving. However, and this is a big however, Real Madrid are reportedly not looking to entertain any offers for him in January. So we have got a situation where the player might want to leave, Arsenal might want to sign him, but the selling club does not want to do business. That is going to be the key obstacle to overcome if this transfer is going to happen. The rating given to this potential transfer is a perfect 10 out of 10, and honestly, I can see why. RODRYGO would be an absolutely sensational signing for Arsenal. He is quick, he is technically gifted, he can play on either wing, and he has experience winning major trophies at the highest level. Adding someone of his quality to our attacking options would be incredible, but let us be realistic here. Getting a player out of Real Madrid in January, when they do not want to sell, is extremely difficult. We are talking about one of the biggest clubs in the world, and they do not need the money. So while this would be a dream signing, Arsenal are going to have to work very hard to make it happen. Rodrigo Mendoza from Elche, the young midfielder. Moving on to our second target, we have Rodrigo Mendoza, a 20-year-old midfielder currently playing for Elche. Now this one is interesting because it represents a different type of signing compared to RODRYGO. We are talking about a young, promising talent rather than an established star. According to reports, manager Mikel Arteta is keeping a close eye on Mendoza. The good news is that he has a release clause in his current contract worth £17.5 million. That is actually quite tempting when you consider the inflated prices in today's transfer market. For a promising young midfielder, that could represent excellent value. But here is the thing that makes this transfer a bit complicated. The article mentions concerns over Declan Rice's ability to stay fit for the entire season. Now, we all know how important Rice is to our team, so having quality backup is essential. However, the report also states that Arsenal signed Christian Norgard in the summer. So the question becomes, do we really need another midfielder in January? The article suggests that a summer move is considered more probable rather than a January transfer. That makes sense when you think about it. We have just brought in Norgard. So unless there is an injury crisis or Rice's fitness becomes a serious problem, it would make more sense to wait until the summer to assess our midfield needs. This potential transfer gets a rating of 6 out of 10. It is not the most exciting name on this list, but it could be a smart piece of business if we are looking to build for the future. Mendoza is young, he has got potential, and the release clause makes him affordable. But do not expect this one to happen in January unless something unexpected occurs with our current squad. Aya Bouadi from Lille, the French sensation. Now let us talk about Aya Bouadi, an 18-year-old midfielder from Lille. This is another young talent, but the excitement around this one seems to be higher than Mendoza. The report suggests that Arsenal are ready to lodge a bid for the Frenchman. That is significant because it shows we are not just monitoring him. We are actually preparing to make a concrete offer. At just 18 years old, Bouadi represents a kind of young, talented player that fits perfectly into Arsenal's recent transfer strategy. But here is where it gets competitive. Arsenal are currently viewed as one of the frontrunners for midfielder, but we are not alone. According to the article, we must fend off interest from Chelsea and Juventus. Both of those clubs are big hitters in the transfer market, so this is not going to be straightforward. Chelsea in particular have shown in recent years that they are willing to spend big money on young talent. Juventus also have a strong reputation for developing young players. So if Arsenal want to win this race, we are going to need to move quickly and make an attractive offer to both the player and his club. This transfer gets a rating of 8 out of 10. That is a strong rating, and I think it reflects both the quality of the player and the realistic chance of making it happen. Bouadi is exactly the type of signing that modern Arsenal go for. Young, talented, hungry, and available for a reasonable price compared to established stars. If we can beat Chelsea and Juventus to his signature, this could be looked back on as a brilliant piece of business in a few years' time. The key will be convincing him that Arsenal is the right place for his development. And to be fair, our recent track record with young players speaks for itself. Kenan Yildiz from Juventus, the future Ballon d'Or winner. Right, now we are getting to what might be the most exciting prospect on this entire list. Kenan Yildiz, the Turkish forward currently at Juventus. The article describes him as a potential future Ballon d'Or winner. Let that sink in for a moment. That is the level of talent we are talking about here. According to the reports, Yildiz has climbed to the top of Arsenal's wish list. That is massive news. It means that out of all the players we could potentially sign, he is the number one priority. The article also mentions that Arsenal have cooled their interest in Bournemouth's Antoine Semenyo, which suggests we're focusing our efforts on Yildiz instead. Here is where it gets really interesting. Negotiations over a new deal at Juventus have reportedly reached a standstill. That is exactly the kind of situation that Arsenal need to capitalize on. When a player's contract talks break down, it creates an opportunity for other clubs to come in and offer something better. Yildiz is described as a versatile Turkish forward, which means he can play in multiple positions across the front line. That kind of flexibility is gold for a manager like Arteta, who likes to rotate his attacking options and change tactical approaches depending on the opponent. This potential signing gets a perfect 10 out of 10 rating, just like RODRYGO. And honestly, I can completely understand why. If Arsenal can pull off this transfer, we would be signing someone who could become one of the best players in world football over the next decade. The fact that his contract talks have stalled at Juventus gives Arsenal a real chance here. Juventus are a big club, but they have had financial difficulties in recent years. If they cannot agree terms with Yildiz and Arsenal coming with an attractive offer, both to the player and to Juventus, this could genuinely happen. Imagine having a player of Yildiz's potential in our squad. A versatile forward who can play across the front line, who is young enough to improve significantly, but already good enough to contribute at the highest level. That is the dream signing right there. Jeremy Jacquet from Rennes, the defensive prospect, moving away from attacking players. Let's talk about defense. Jeremy Jacquet is a 20-year-old center back currently playing for Rennes, and according to reports, he has emerged as a key defensive target for Arsenal. The article states that there have been initial talks between Andrea Berta and Rennes. Now, if you do not know who Andrea Berta is, he is involved in transfer negotiations and scouting for Arsenal. The fact that talks have already begun suggests this is more than just a passing interest. Arsenal are actively pursuing this player. However, there is a complication. Rennes are reluctant to sell mid-season. That makes sense from their perspective. Losing a key young defender in January could harm their season, so they would prefer to keep him until the summer at least. But Arsenal have additional motivation beyond just wanting a good center back. According to the article, we are keen to beat Liverpool to the youngster's signature. That means Liverpool are also interested, so this has become a race between two major Premier League clubs. The key phrase in the article is that Arsenal want to bolster their backline in the long term. That suggests Jacquet is not seen as an immediate starter, but rather as an investment for the future. At 20 years old, he will be coming in to learn from our more experienced offenders while gradually working his way into the first team. This transfer gets a rating of 6 out of 10. It is a solid rating for what would be a sensible, long-term signing. It is not going to get fans jumping out of their seats with excitement like RODRYGO or Yildiz would, but it could prove to be very smart business if Jacquet develops as expected. The fact that Rennes do not want to sell in January means this might be one that gets pushed back to the summer window. But the important thing is that Arsenal have identified him as a target and open talks. That groundwork could pay off in a few months' time. Davide Bardesaghi from AC Milan, the Maldini comparison. Next up, we have Davide Bardesaghi, an Italian left-back currently at AC Milan. Now, the article makes a very bold comparison here, saying that his breakout season in Serie A has drawn comparisons to the legendary Paolo Maldini. That is high praise indeed. Maldini is considered one of the greatest defenders of all time. According to the reports, Bardesaghi has caught the eye of Arsenal scouts. That means our scouting department has been watching him, and they like what they see. AC Milan are apparently scrambling to offer him a contract extension to keep him at the San Siro, which tells you how highly they rate him. However, the article also states that Arsenal remain poised to strike if talks stall. So we are in a waiting game here. If Milan can agree a new contract with Bardesaghi, then Arsenal will probably move on. But if those negotiations break down, Arsenal are ready to make a move. Here is the catch, though. The article specifically mentions that Arsenal are already well stocked in the left-back position. That is a crucial point because it raises the question of whether we actually need another left-back right now. It suggests that while Bardesaghi is a talented player, he might not be a priority signing. This transfer gets a rating of just 5 out of 10. That is the lowest rating on this entire list. And the reason is clear. We do not really need a left back at the moment. It would be a luxury signing rather than filling a gap in the squad. That is not to say Bardesaghi is not a good player. The Maldini comparison suggests he has serious potential. But from Arsenal's perspective, there are other positions that need strengthening more urgently. Unless we get an unexpected opportunity to sign him at a bargain price, this feels like one that probably will not happen. Karim Adeyemi from Borussia Dortmund, the German speedster. Finally, let's talk about Karim Adeyemi, the German winger currently at Borussia Dortmund. The article describes him as a speedster, which immediately tells you what kind of player we are talking about. Pace, direct running, the ability to get in behind defenses. That is what Adeyemi brings to the table. Here is the really interesting part. According to reports, Adeyemi reportedly favors a move to the Emirates Stadium over Manchester United. That is significant because it shows that when given a choice between two big Premier League clubs, he would prefer to join Arsenal. That tells you something about how attractive Arteta's project has become. The article states that he views Arteta's project as the ideal next step for his career. That is exactly what Arsenal fans want to hear. It means we are not just signing players with money. We are attracting them because they believe in what we are building here. Dortmund are said to be open to sale in the region of 60 to 70 million pounds. That is a substantial fee. But for a talented German international winger in his prime years, it could represent fair value in today's market. The question is whether Arsenal are willing to spend that much in January. The article suggests that Arsenal may wait until the summer to trigger a formal move for the talented winger. That makes financial sense. Transfer fees tend to be lower in the summer window, and it also gives Arsenal more time to assess their needs and budget for next season. This potential transfer gets a rating of 8 out of 10. That is a strong rating that reflects both Adeyemi's quality as a player and the realistic possibility of making it happen. The fact that he prefers Arsenal over Manchester United is huge. It means if we decide to pursue him seriously, we have a very good chance of landing him. Adeyemi would add genuine pace and directness to Arsenal's attack. He is the kind of player who can stretch defenses, create space for teammates, and score goals himself. At 60 to 70 million pounds, it would be a big investment, but one that could pay off significantly if he fulfills his potential. Final thoughts. So there you have it, Gooners. 7 potential transfers, each with their own story, their own complications, and their own level of excitement. We have got established stars like RODRYGO, exciting young prospects like Yildiz and Boadi, and experienced options like Adeyemi. What stands out to me is the variety on this list. Arsenal are clearly looking at different types of players to fill different needs. Some are for the here and now, like RODRYGO and Adeyemi. Others are investments for the future, like Mendoza and Jake. The question is which, if any, of these transfers will actually happen. January is always a difficult window. Clubs do not want to sell their best players mid-season, and prices tend to be inflated. But if Arsenal are serious about competing for major trophies, adding quality in January could make all the difference. Remember, everything we have discussed today is based on reports and rumors. Nothing is confirmed until the club makes an official announcement. But these are the names being talked about, and as Arsenal fans, it is exciting to think about the possibility of any of these players wearing our shirt. Thanks for watching Arsenal Daily News. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Let me know in the comments which of these 7 players you would most like to see at Arsenal. Until next time, keep the faith, and come on you Gunners. Manchester City signed Semenyo. What this means for Arsenal's title hopes. Hello, Arsenal family, and welcome back to Arsenal Daily News. Today we need to have a serious conversation about what just happened in the Premier League title race. Manchester City have made a massive statement in the January transfer window, and it's a move that could have significant implications for our quest to finally bring the Premier League trophy back to the Emirates Stadium. The transfer that changes everything. Let me start with the headline news. Manchester City have just completed the signing of Antoine Semenyo from Bournemouth. This is not a rumor anymore. This is done and dusted. The Ghanaian-born winger has put pen to paper on a 5.5-year deal that will keep him at the Etihad Stadium through to 2031. Now, you might be wondering why we should be concerned about a player coming from Bournemouth. Let me tell you exactly why this signing is so significant for us. The transfer fee is reported to be £62.5 million. Yes, you heard that right. Manchester City has spent over £60 million on a winger in January. That tells you everything you need to know about how seriously Pep Guardiola is taking this title race. Who is Antoine Semenyo? For those of you who haven't been paying close attention to Bournemouth this season, let me paint you a picture of what kind of player we're talking about here. Antoine Semenyo is 26 years old, and according to the club statement from Manchester City, he has enjoyed what they call a meteoric rise to become one of the Premier League's most feared forwards. Semenyo was born in London and is of Ghanaian descent. He started a professional career at Bristol City, but his journey to the top level wasn't straightforward. He went out on loan to Bath City, Newport County, and Sunderland to develop his game and hone his craft. After impressing at Bristol City's Ashton Gate Stadium, Bournemouth spotted his potential and brought him to Premier League midway through the 2022 to 2023 season. Since then, his career has gone from strength to strength. The Manchester City statement describes him as operating chiefly down the left side of an attacking midfield trio. They say his time with Bournemouth, who they call the Cherries, has seen him emerge as one of the Premier League's most exciting and sought-after attacking wingers. Semenyo's own words. What really caught my attention was what Semenyo himself said about this move. Listen to this quote carefully because it tells you everything about City's mentality right now. He said, and I quote, "I am so proud to have joined Manchester City. I have watched City over the last decade under Pep Guardiola, and they have been the dominant team in the Premier League, as well as achieving amazing things in the Champions League, FA Cup, and League Cup." He went on to say, "They have set the highest of standards, and it's a club with world-class players, world-class facilities, and one of the greatest managers ever in Pep. I have so much scope for improvement. So to be at this club, at this stage of my career, is perfect for me. It's a real privilege to be here. But here's the part that should concern us as Arsenal fans." He added, "My best football is yet to come, I am sure of that. And City are in a great position, still involved in 4 competitions. I really feel I can help them have a strong second half of the season. The Etihad is my new home. I can't wait to play in front of the fans here, and I hope to show everyone what I can do." Did you catch that? He specifically mentioned helping City have a strong second half of the season. This is a player who believes he can make an immediate impact, and given what he's done at Bournemouth, we have no reason to doubt him. The competition for his signature. Now, here's something else that should tell you how good this player is. According to the article, Liverpool made an attempt to join the race for his signature. Chelsea also showed interest before later pulling out. So we're talking about 3 of the biggest clubs in England all wanting this player. That's not a coincidence. That's the market recognizing genuine quality. And get this, Semenyo played his final game for Bournemouth on Wednesday night. And what did he do? He scored a late winner in their 3-2 victory over Tottenham. Talk about leaving on a high note. This is a player in form, a player with confidence, and now he's going to be wearing a Manchester City shirt. Where Arsenal stand right now. Let me give you the current state of play in the title race, because this is crucial context for understanding why City felt they needed to make the signing. Arsenal currently sit top of the Premier League table, 6 points ahead of Manchester City. Liverpool are currently 14 points back from us. Now, before we get too comfortable with that 6-point cushion, let me remind you of some painful history. The article puts it bluntly, and I think we all need to hear this. It says Arsenal have been in this position before, only to see both City and Liverpool overtake them in recent seasons. Those words sting, because they're true. We haven't lifted the Premier League trophy since 2004. That's over 20 years of waiting, 20 years of heartbreak, 20 years of coming close, but not close enough. And while Liverpool are along, way back this season, Manchester City are exactly where they always are, breathing down our necks and waiting for us to slip up. The timing of the signing. What makes this transfer even more significant is the timing. We just shared the spoils with Liverpool on Thursday night. It was a 0-0 draw at the Emirates. Now, that's not necessarily a bad result. We kept our lead at the top. But we also miss a chance to take 3 points and pull further clear of Manchester City and Aston Villa, who are in second and third place respectively. So City wake up on Friday morning, still 6 points behind us. And what do? They announce the signing of one of the Premier League's most exciting attacking talents. That's a statement. That's Pep Guardiola telling us and the rest of the league that City are not going away. They're going to fight for this title all the way to the end. What former Arsenal players are saying. Here's where it gets really interesting. Former Arsenal star Alan Smith has come out and expressed concerns about this transfer. Speaking to In the Mix, Smith said something that I think a lot of Arsenal fans are thinking right now, but maybe don't want to say out loud. He said, and I'm quoting here, "I'm a bit worried about City and Semenyo, and if they get Gahey." So he's already thinking ahead to potentially more signings from City. He continued, "I don't like that at all, because as City are at the moment, I think Arsenal are better in terms of the squad." Now, that's an interesting admission from Smith. He genuinely believes that right now. Today, Arsenal have the better squad compared to Manchester City. But then comes the kicker. He says, but listen, if City are breathing down their necks with 4 or 5 games to go, how are Arsenal going to handle it? That is the question. Let that sink in for a moment. A former Arsenal player, someone who knows the club inside and out, is basically saying that his big concern isn't about the quality of our squad. His concern is about how we handle the pressure when it really matters. When City are right there within touching distance in those final few games of season, that's the real test. The psychology of the title race. And you know what? Alan Smith is absolutely right to be concerned about that, because we've seen this movie before. We've been in commanding positions in title races, and we've let them slip away. We felt the pressure of Manchester City's relentless winning machine coming up behind us, game after game, victory after victory, and we've cracked. That's not a criticism of the players or Mikel Arteta. It's just the reality of what it's like to compete with arguably the most successful club side of the last decade. Manchester City have won multiple Premier League titles. They know how to close out a season. They know how to handle that pressure. The question, as Alan Smith correctly points out, is whether we do. What Semenyo brings to Manchester City. Let's get tactical for a moment and talk about what Semenyo actually brings to this Manchester City team. According to the information we have, he operates primarily down the left side of an attacking midfield trio. That's significant because it gives Guardiola another dynamic option in attack. One thing we know about Pep Guardiola is that he loves to rotate his squad. He loves to keep opponents guessing about who's going to start. He loves to have multiple solutions to the same problem. By adding Semenyo, he now has even more flexibility in how he sets up his attack. Think about it from a tactical perspective. City can now rotate their wingers without losing quality. They can change their style of attack depending on the opponent. They can bring on Semenyo as a super sub in tight games. This is exactly the kind of squad depth that helps you win titles, especially when you're competing on multiple fronts. And let's not forget, Semenyo himself mentioned that City are still involved in 4 competitions. That means the Premier League, the FA Cup, the League Cup, and the Champions League. That's a lot of games between now and the end of the season. Having quality depth is going to be absolutely crucial for them. The warning signs for Arsenal. So what does all of this mean for Arsenal? Well, I think there are several warning signs we need to pay attention to. First and foremost, Manchester City are not giving up on this title race. Despite being 6 points behind, despite having a harder run of fixtures potentially, they are investing heavily in January to strengthen their squad. That tells you they believe they can catch us. Secondly, we need to be honest about our own situation. Yes, we're top of the league. Yes, we have a 6-point cushion. But we've just drawn with Liverpool at home. That's 2 points dropped. 2 points that could prove absolutely crucial come May. Thirdly, the pressure is going to intensify from here on out. Every game becomes bigger. Every drop point becomes more significant. Every time City win and we don't, that gap closes. And as Alan Smith pointed out, the big question is how we respond to that pressure. Our response must be on the pitch. Now, I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm really not. I believe in this Arsenal squad. I believe in Mikel Arteta. I believe we can finally end that 22-year wait for a Premier League title. But belief alone isn't enough. We need to back it up on the pitch, week after week, game after game. We can't control what Manchester City do. We can't stop them from signing players like Semenyo. We can't stop them from winning their games. The only thing we can control is our own performances. We need to keep winning. We need to maintain our standards. We need to show that we've learned from previous seasons where we've let title challenges slip away. The bigger picture. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here. Manchester City spending £62.5 million on a player in January is a reminder of the kind of financial power we're competing against. This is a club that can identify a need, target a player, and get the deal done quickly and efficiently. Now, Arsenal have also invested heavily in recent transfer windows. Mikel Arteta has been backed by the board to build a squad capable of challenging for the title. But City's ability to strengthen even when they're already one of the best teams in the world, that's what makes them so difficult to compete with over a full season. What Arsenal fans need to remember. Here's what I want Arsenal fans to take away from this news. Yes, Manchester City signing Semenyo is a concern. Yes, it strengthens their squad. Yes, it shows they're serious about catching us. But we're still top of the league. We're still 6 points clear. We still have our destiny in our own hands. If we win our games, Manchester City can sign whoever they want and it won't matter. The title race isn't won in the transfer market. It's won on the pitch in those crucial moments, in those big games, when everything is on the line. What we need from our players now is consistency. We need them to show up every single week. We need them to handle the pressure. We need them to believe that this is our year. Because if they believe it, really believe it, then we have every chance of making it happen. The road ahead. The article mentions that we need to see how Arsenal handle it when City are breathing down our necks with 4 or 5 games to go. Well, here's my response to that. Let's not wait until there are 4 or 5 games to go. Let's build our lead now. Let's win the games we're supposed to win. Let's take points from the difficult games. Let's make it so that even if City go on a winning run, they still can't catch us. That's the mentality we need. Not fear of City. Not worry about their signings. But confidence in ourselves and determination to see this through to the end. Final thoughts. Manchester City signing Antoine Semenyo for £62.5 million is significant news in the title race. It shows their intent. It shows their quality. It shows they're not going away. But you know what? Good. Let them come. Let them spend their money. Let them strengthen their squad. Because this Arsenal team has something that money can't buy. We have desire. We have hunger. We have fans who have waited over 2 decades for this moment. We have a manager who understands what this club means. We have players who want to write their names into Arsenal history. So yes, City have signed Semenyo. But we're still top of the league. We're still in control. And if we keep our nerve, if we maintain our standards, if we show the character and quality that got us to this position in the first place, then come May, we'll be the ones lifting that Premier League trophy. That's all for today's Arsenal Daily News. Let me know in the comments what you think about City's signing of Semenyo and whether you think we can hold off their challenge. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Come on, you Gunners. This is our year. Let's make it happen.